Eden Hope Academy. I am Kim Glanowski, and I am delighted that you're with me for week 18. Get out your books, give them a wiggle, and let's get started on Bible. Now, we started out way back at the beginning of time, and we are now going to go all the way to the end of the New Testament, the Bible, and we're going to go to the book of Revelation. And that book was written by John, who was a prophet, and he was a disciple of Jesus, and he was imprisoned on an island because of his beliefs about Jesus Christ. And he had already started a bunch of churches, and they imprisoned him in a labor camp. And he sulked? No, he didn't sulk. Did he become an Ahab and put his face to the wall? What do you think? No. He knew that God was with him even in that really tough situation. And so he continued to tell people about Jesus, and he converted so many guards to Christianity, to Jesus, that they said, even an island jail doesn't work for you. So they put him in a cave. They said, you've got to live in a cave. And so while he was in the cave, he was visited by an angel, and the angel told him what was going to happen all the way at the end. And so this was written by him. So listen to these words and see if anything sounds familiar to you. It says, whoever has ears, let them hear what the Spirit says to the churches. To the one who is victorious, I will give the right to eat from the tree of life, which is in the paradise of God. Now here we go again, the tree of life. Wow. So what do we remember? This is just a review for this week. So what do we remember from week 1 or week 2? We have 2 trees, and they're in the garden. What are they called? The tree of life. And that is where you get to be with God. That's where we can think of ourselves as being with God. And then the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. That's a tree where we think we know better than God, where we think we should do things on our own, and maybe God didn't get it quite right, so I'll fix it for him. Never, ever. That's not a good tree to go with, is it? So when you do your link it cards for this week, I want you to think of some people that we learn about and think about, or that we have learned about, and think which trees will they go under. So for here, I want you to draw a picture of John in a cave in Patmos, which is a Greek island. And so it would have pretty blue water around it and maybe white sand, but he'd be in a cave and he'd be writing. And what would his face look like? Do you think he would be sad, or do you think that he would have joy from the Lord? I bet he'd have joy. Okay, so you write that, and let's go on to the next one. This is a song about some of the world's coolest places. The Great Pyramid, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, the Statue of Zeus, the Temple of Artemis at Ephesus, the Mausoleum at Halicarnassus, the Colossus of Rhodes, and the Lighthouse at Alexandria. So you need to draw one of those right here, and here's a picture. And we're going to watch lots of videos on those this week because they are amazing. Some of my favorites are like the Lighthouse at Alexandria, where they kept the fires going 24/7 for over 100 years. And the way the lighthouse worked was they used mirrors to make the light from the fire go all the way to the top. So the fire was at the bottom, and then the light was reflected all the way to the top, which I think was ingenious. Another one is the Statue of Zeus, where they built the structure around the Statue of Zeus, the building around it, and then they built the chair with Zeus, statue of him in it, but they built it where if he had stood up, he would have crashed through the top of the building. It made him so big compared to the size of the building. And that was supposed to show people how big they thought Zeus was. But I thought that was a really cool way to show how big they thought he was, to make the building to almost like, just a little bit from the top of his head. So it looked like he would crash through it if he stood up. Okay, and link it to me. Sometimes we think because the last 100 years or so have been so filled with new technologies that intelligence has increased with time. In light of Archimedes' inventions from last week and the 7 wonders, do you think this premise is true? Do you think that suddenly we've gotten smarter in the last 100 years? Think about that and write that down. Tell me. And name 3 wonders or inventions that particularly amaze you. So hopefully you got to read some books on Archimedes last week, and you can think about some of his inventions, and then think of the 7 wonders of the natural world and either draw a picture, or the ancient world, and either draw a picture or write what you think are the 3 top. All right, this is a song about simple machines. You've got the wheel and the axle and the lever, the pulley and the inclined plane, the wedge, and lastly you have the screw. So those are all simple machines. And so I want you to think about these and think how you use them in everyday life. How about just opening a can? Have you guys opened a can recently? What do you use to open a can? Did you say a screw? I bet you did. How about, my driveway is pretty steep. So to get from the road to my house, what do we use? We use an inclined plane, don't we? Do you use inclined planes in your house anywhere? Think about some ways that you use inclined planes. How about at the church where you go? Do they have any inclined planes, like maybe for wheelchair ramps or things like that? I want you to look and say, that's an inclined plane. How about a wedge? Do you ever help your dad chop wood? What does he use? Does he use a wedge to chop wood? That's what we use when we're chopping wood, is a wedge. Think about ways that you use each of these and come to science class with ideas about where you've seen simple machines in action around you. Okay, and finally, Greece. We're on Greece again. The Aegean Sea, the Mediterranean Sea, Athens, Sparta, Rhodes, Olympia, Crete, Patmos, and Corinth. Those are all places in Greece. So you already know a few of these from last week, don't you? You know that Greece is near the Aegean Sea, the Mediterranean Sea. Do you remember what other seas it's by? I bet you do. And then some of the places are Sparta, Rhodes, Olympia, Crete, Patmos, which we know is an island, and Corinth. So what I want you to do is do very similar to what you did last week. You're going to draw a big Mediterranean Sea. You could even cover this whole thing with the Mediterranean Sea. And then our light went out, didn't it? And then you can add in the dots for the places in Greece. So you can just add in dots for the island. Okay, I think we have perfect timing with our light. So I will see you next week, and I can't wait for you to do the simple machines exercise in science, because you're just gonna love it. And I can't wait to hear which is your favorite 7 wonder of the ancient world. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.